January 7th, 2005, I was in a horrific car accident. In the vehicle with me was my grandfather who was driving, my grandmother, and my aunt and cousin were in the back seat with me. My grandfather allegedly ran a stoplight and we were hit by a tow truck pulling another car. We were sent rolling down a ditch. None of us in the back seat had our seatbelts on. And my aunt flew out of the car and my head went to the left backside window. Everyone died except for me. It is a wonder how I lived, considering the mass and velocity of the tow truck, but still I wonder if my aunt would have lived had she stayed inside the vehicle, and would my cousin have lived had she had her seatbelt on, and maybe I wouldn't have received the head injury that I did if my head wouldn't have gone through the window. I also received several other injuries. I received a punctured bladder, which I had surgery on. I had surgery on my leg because I broke it in 2 places. I was in a coma for a week and a half due to the head injury, and I was hooked up to several tubes, and I was in a wheelchair for a month and a half. Throughout this speech, I'm going to tell you how seatbelts reduce the chance of fatality and injury, some of the myths about seatbelts and why they are incorrect, and I'm going to tell you what we can do to help increase seatbelt percentages, and why my plan will work. Everyone should wear their seatbelt when they're in a vehicle. Ways in which seatbelts reduce the chance of fatality and injury are they keep you in place, they keep you inside the vehicle, and according to the Oklahoma State University EHS safety training, statistically the best place to be during an accident is in your car. If you're thrown out of the vehicle, you're 25 times more likely to die. Also, seatbelts maximize the other benefits a car offers, such as an airbag. If you don't have your seatbelt on, you might fly to the passenger side or out the window, and you won't be in place to receive the benefits of an airbag. Also, in a low percentage of car accidents, there's a chance to regain control of the vehicle, and if you aren't in the driver's seat, where the seatbelt keeps you, you wouldn't be able to grab a hold of the steering wheel and steer wide of the car or the body of water that you might be hitting after a car hits you. After hearing some of the facts about seatbelts and how they can help you, it's a wonder why anyone doesn't wear their seatbelts. And there's several myths that keep people from wearing their seatbelts. Some people believe that seatbelts are not safe for their children. Seatbelts weren't necessarily designed for children, and they believe that maybe the impact of the seatbelt upon a car crash would hurt their bodies, or maybe it's across their neck, and they don't want to risk that. And they believe that seatbelts can have negative effects for children. But according to an article written by S. Howman, M. Chipman, P. Parkin, and J. Wright, titled, "Are Seatbelts as Effective for School-Aged Children as in Adults?" They found that despite standard seatbelts being designed for adults, school-aged children were at least as well protected as adults. Also, some people believe that it should be a choice. They believe that seatbelts is something that protects their own safety and that it shouldn't be the choice of the government. But as mentioned before in this speech, there's a chance in some car accidents in which you're able to regain control of the vehicle. And after a car hits you, sometimes you'll be heading towards another vehicle. And if you can regain control of the steering wheel, you can steer wide, and therefore you protect the other occupants in the car. And that way it doesn't only affect your safety in life, but it affects the lives of other people. Yet another reason people don't buckle up is because they're only traveling a short distance, such as to the grocery store, to the library, and that makes them not put their seatbelt on and just buckle up. According to the Oklahoma State University EHS safety training, says that actually this is the best time to buckle up, since 80% of traffic fatalities occur within 20 miles of home and under 45 miles an hour. This happens because people often feel relaxed when they're near their home, and they lose concentration. So what can we do to increase our seatbelt use? Our government's going to do two things specifically to increase it. We need to enforce the law harder. As everyone knows, it is a law in the United States to put on your seatbelt when you're driving in a vehicle. According to an article called Buckle Up by the Advocates for Highway and Auto Safety, fines for not wearing a seatbelt range from $5 in Idaho to $75 in Oregon. The most common fine is $20 to $25, which is in 27 of the 50 states. Our government can also increase the number of safety campaigns that there are for seatbelt use. According to an article called Race, Belief in Destiny, and Seatbelt Usage, a Pilot Study by ICON, it says that in an effort to increase seatbelt usage, numerous strategies have been employed with varying degrees of success. Some of these strategies would include commercials and ads. You know, the click it or ticket ad they had, and that keeps it fresh in people's minds and makes them remember to put on their seatbelt when they get in the vehicle. The main responsibility of putting on seatbelts lies within we ourselves. We just need to always remember to put on our seatbelt and remind the people around us to put on their seatbelts. A way to help you remember these things, just think of the safety issues, and if you're not concerned about your own safety, think about your family and friends and your loved ones and how you'd want them to be safe and protected and want to save their lives. Just let it become second nature. I've worn my seatbelt so much that I don't even think about it anymore when I get inside a car, and I don't even notice I have it on, and I encourage you to let it become second nature also. So why is my plan practical? Increasing safety campaigns about seatbelts would increase seatbelt use, but they also might create a need for more money in our government because they might need to pay more officers to look specifically for seatbelt, and they may need money to sponsor the campaigns. For this, I offer that many companies would be willing to sponsor these because, such as Nike could make a commercial saying that seatbelts save lives, and then put sponsored by Nike, and that gets their name out there. So many companies would be willing to do that in order to promote their product. And also, even if we did have to pay a couple extra dollars in tax a year to pay for these campaigns and extra officers, saving lives is more important than money. In conclusion, it is very important to wear your seatbelt when driving in a vehicle. I've gone through ways in which seatbelts reduce fatality and injury. I've given you some of the myths that are incorrect about seatbelt usage. I have told you in ways in which we can increase seatbelt use and why my plan will work. I encourage all of you to remember to put on your seatbelt and remind those around you to put on your seatbelt. I hope that you will put on your seatbelt and that you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.
8 minutes, 32 seconds.